Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Paul Adams, and today is April 1st, 2024, April Fool's Day. No, we're not going to be fooling around here. We're going to get right down to the nitty-gritty. My video was taken down because of a copyright issue. Apparently, Al Jazeera didn't like the fact that I borrowed some of their clips. You would think that they'd be happy with that, they're getting their name promoted and advertised in different videos, but no. There are so many videos out there about the Gaza conflict, and my voice is simply, it's a combination of two things. First of all, I want my posterity to know that I spoke out during this crisis, okay? And as few views as my videos got, I still believe that it's important that I put my voice out there. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the combined voices of the world reach out to heaven and plead for justice. And it is that combined plea for justice that will bring about justice in the end. Okay, I'm not going to get into the eschatological end times prophecies and all that right now. But I'm going to be keeping some of the original content of the first video that was struck down. And also I'm going to add a lot of clips, reports from Haaretz, because one person commented, "Oh my goodness, you are using Al Jazeera as your source. Oh, what a horrendous source that is. What are you thinking? They are so biased." Okay, if you think they're biased, how about Haaretz? Do you want to go with Haaretz? They're made in Israel. What could possibly be wrong with that source? Okay, so let's take a look at some of these headlines, and we'll see you later. Got to remember that Netanyahu faces jail time, and his corruption charges have not gone away.
Little incident. 70,000 people in Gaza, just moved. They moved because of nothing. It happened. What was it? Half an hour, three-quarters of an hour. Some gunfire. They moved. They thought this was the great, the grand invasion.
Looks like Netanyahu is losing his memory and needs to be taken out of office.
They have a place to move. We'll make sure they have it. We make sure they have shelters. We make sure they have water. We make sure they have food, medicine, field hospitals.
The obfuscation, the subterfuge, the lying, the mendacity never ends. IDF has killed 137 journalists. And here Netanyahu is in an alternate universe.
This is almost a mass hysteria that has been built wrongly.
Okay, just a little pause here. I want you to focus in on this one member of his cabinet that starts to laugh and snicker at the mention of Palestinians having the freedom to move around as they will. Okay, I want you to remember that face. It is emblematic. It is signifying to the world that this kind of evil can perpetrate itself through not only Israel, but through the United States and other countries. It is the penultimate example of a sociopathic, completely amoral, heinous, evil, barbaric, satanic, demonic, monstrous piece of crap?
Because we went into Rafah, the people won't have a place to go. Well, there's all of the Gaza Strip north of Rafah. People down, they can move back up. They don't have to go into north of Wadi Gaza, but there's still 65% of the Gaza Strip left open. And people just move. They move with their tents. They have no place to go. Yes, they have a place to go. Second, we provide them food.
Did you see that smile?
After 5 months of monitoring and analyzing Israel's onslaught on Gaza, my report finds that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the threshold indicating that Israel is committing the crime of genocide against the Palestinians as a group in Gaza has been met. Specifically, Israel has committed 3 acts of genocide with the requisite intent: killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, and deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. The flagrant and systematic slaughter of Palestinian civilians, the deployment of unlawful weaponry, the utter obliteration of vital civilian infrastructure, including the deliberate targeting of all Gaza's hospitals, and the man-made starvation of the Palestinian people transcend the realm of war crimes and crimes against humanity that had been seen in the occupied Palestinian territory before. The monstrosity unfolding is accompanied by a pervasive anti-Palestinian narrative and dehumanization emanating from the uppermost tiers of Israeli society, including high-ranking officials with command authority and frequently reflected in soldiers' actions on the ground. This reflects the intent, a dolus specialis, to destroy in whole or in part, which is what distinguishes genocide from other atrocity crimes. In the case of Gaza, there exists a chilling clarity of this purpose: the systematic eradication of an entire people, or at least a significant part thereof. One of the key findings is that Israel's executive and military leadership and soldiers have intentionally distorted, using bellow principles, subverted their protection functions in an attempt to legitimize genocidal violence against the Palestinian people. The only reasonable inference that can be drawn from the unveiling of this policy is an Israeli state policy of genocidal violence toward the Palestinian people in Gaza. I will now be happy to take your questions.
Okay, here's a question I have. When are you going to convene a Nuremberg 2.0 tribunal trial to adjudicate crimes against humanity, in particular genocide, and arraign all the perpetrators both in the United States and Israel and elsewhere, where the policy to obliterate, ethnically cleanse the Palestinians from Gaza has been pushed, promoted, and nothing has been done so far. When are you going to convene such a court?
Yes, many people are extremely horrified by the U.S. government's position on this horrific conflict and the actions of both the Israeli and the U.S. governments. There is the dissent channel inside the State Department. I co-wrote a cable and signed other cables. There have been forums for State Department employees to speak out. I spoke with supervisors. I was able to speak with senior official about my resignation. I think at the end of the day, many people inside state know that this is a horrific policy and can't believe that the United States government is engaged in such actions that contravene American values so directly, but the leadership is not listening.
Israel's lingering aimless war is a one-way ticket to international isolation. Israel created kill zones in Gaza. Anyone who crosses into them is shot. Israel, as a political state, is doomed. It's going to happen. It's going to be a regional war. Watch. Even with Putin's vast support by the Jewish community. there will come a time when Russia will retaliate. They all know that Israel is contravening international law, and its military is only going to get more disorganized, more broken down. Netanyahu seems to have been born for one cause, one mission, to destroy Israel. And there's a lot of people out there that will use the anti Semitic card, to defame somebody. Oh, you hate the Jews. You are an anti Semite. You are the scum of the earth. Don't you remember the Holocaust? I remember the Holocaust very well. I remember my father fighting in World War II trying to save the Jews. All right? And I happen to be of the Israeli clan also. I am of the tribe of Joseph. That's how I identify myself. And don't forget that the promise that God made to Abraham included all those tribes under Abraham, included the Arabs. So Arabs are Semites too. It's not rocket science. So put down your anti Semitic card, lay it to rest because it's not working anymore. Try something different. Okay, if you're going to be antagonistic, try something or more original.
Often, when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic.
The bottom line is that Israel is committing genocide. It's like a wayward, delinquent child that needs to be reined in, needs to be tutored, needs to be disciplined, because we cannot go on like this. You have the Jews who were once facing genocide, they lived through it, and now they're committing it. How does that make sense? It makes sense only if you understand that the Zionists have taken umbrage under the Jewish umbrella. They call themselves Jews so they can get away with murder, but they're not really God's people. I mean, listen to this guy. He's like a demon.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
So, right out of the horse's mouth, what more evidence do you people want? God hears even the smallest child's prayer. The angels of little children are present before the Lord constantly, and He listens to all their requests, all their prayers. So I'm saying to you, if you have a heart for these Palestinians, if you're feeling their pain, pray to the Lord God Almighty that justice may be rained down and that this evil that is getting worse by the day may be put to an end.